Alright there, you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the crown Jules of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you, yes, you the person whose birthday it was recently. Sigh, I have just whipped hand over here. Sigh's obviously not here, but my neighbour collecting her parcel is. Hi. Yes, you, Sai. Happy belated birthday. I know that technically we didn't get it on the day, but consider this your birthday episode. It's not a great present, I know, and I haven't kept the receipt, but still, big love to you, and I hope that you all put some nice comments down in the comment section below. But also, it's not just your birthday, by the way. It's actually today, the Beeve's birthday. There's a little video message from her. She's having her birthday biscuits all in bed. Breakfast in bed. What an absolute treat, eh? What an absolute treat. We also got her a new scratching post because you are spoiled. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week, and this week we have none other to thank than Eric Shelby for their suggestion of video game levels that have aged terribly. Now here's the thing, I have got great experience in things that have aged terribly because just look at me, I used to have hair, I used to have gumption, I've got neither, my friends. But when it comes to video games, I think you notice it a little bit more because when you're a kid looking at these video games, you think to yourself that graphics can never get better. And then you realise that they can immediately. Let's also don the rose-tinted glasses and then knock them quickly off our face as we travel both back in time and back to an age of primeval technology, when we look at all the angles, the polygons, the render distances, as we have a chat about video game levels that have aged terribly. Number 8, Tick-Tock Clock, Super Mario 64. Now, Super Mario 64's late game level, Tick-Tock Clock, is, in a word, insane. It's a grueling test of every skill that the player has amassed up to this point. I mean, it requires pinpoint precision as the player ascends the innards of a grandfather clock, and it's got all these enemies that just love to push you right back down to the bottom. I'm just like... But back in the late 90s, when players en masse were still in slack-jawed awe of Mario's glorious leap to 3D platforming, it was decidedly easier just to embrace Tick-Tock Clock for what it was rather than what it wasn't. But the near 30 years since release haven't actually been majorly kind to this level above all others, which simply feels like an exercise in Nintendo actively chastising their own paying customers. Modern players just simply aren't used to platformers that punish them quite this egregiously for such minor mistakes, especially with the sheer amount of things that are happening in this level. Tick-Tock Clock, admittedly, still has its defenders to this day. They are mad. But even if you can contend with the insane level of difficulty here, it's also arguably the visually most bland level in the entire game. There. I said it. What are you gonna do? I've got Big Pidge to back me up here. What's up, Big Pidge? Good to see you. Number 7, The Chasm, Doom 2. Sorry. Now, once upon a time, getting through 2's hellish The Chasm was a badge of honour for young players, to navigate a series of wafer-thin walkways while dealing with the inevitable wave of hellspawn that was, well, for lack of a better word, vomited your way. But here's the thing, time-rich young'uns back in the past versus time-poor adults today who are revisiting Doom 2. How does it hold up? What's that, adults? Not well. To be blunt, this level sucks. I'm sorry to say it, and it's less of a case of id Software throwing the gauntlet down as a challenge for players and more that it just picks it back up and just slaps them in the face. Repeatedly, over and over. It's not fun. As enticing as the level's verticality could have been, the mind-boggling nimbleness that you need and the sheer savant-tier plate spinning required of the player, well, it transpires into genuine bull territory. And so, this is at once a provocative and creatively designed map, but also one that does not vibe at all with the palette of most modern gamers. Number 6, Facility GoldenEye 007. Okay, I'm about to do it. I'm about to bash GoldenEye 007. I don't feel good about it. The inner child here is screaming, rattling the cages, saying, "Don't do it, Jules," as it pushes its glorious emo fringe out of its face. "Don't do it, Jules, you stupid egg!" But I must, for the betterment of humanity. I may have gone a bit overboard with how grandiose that actually is. This level sucks! In the single-player campaign, you dropped down into the chemical warfare lab through the toilets, rendezvoused with 006, and blew up gas tanks with mines, making you truly feel like you were James Bond himself. But Facility became something truly special in the multiplayer suite. I mean, who among us hasn't filled Facility's bathroom with mines and then waited for some poor sap to come waltzing through the door? It was glorious, and it never got old. Yet here's the thing, we remember it as being brilliant, but in reality, Facility, to contemporary scrutiny, just does not hold up. I mean, forget the dated visuals, the enemy AI here is actually just awful, and like all other levels, Facility is designed to accommodate the period's woefully clunky N64 control scheme, something even the recent remaster failed to rectify. Because here's the thing, friends, sometimes it's okay to let gaming memories be just that, great memories, and GoldenEye's best level is a shining example of that. Number 5, the PAL key backtrack, Metal Gear Solid. Now, one of the major benefits of modern video game design is that it's generally far more respectful of the player's time. Just ignore all of these games as live services that Sai is throwing onto the screen right now. Stop, stop, stop. You're counteracting my point so well. Stop, 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 stop. Because we've got checkpointing, we've got auto-saves, and it just doesn't force us to do so much of the boring, busy work. Stop, online MMORPG, stop, Sai, stop counteracting my point so well. And speaking of which, one of the most memorable sequences from the original Metal Gear Solid is the PAL card key activation, which requires players to backtrack to a cold location, which is the warehouse, and to a hot location, the blast furnace, in order to change the shape of a key. Now, while some certainly complained about the laborious backtracking when the game launched in 1998, on an initial playthrough this was mitigated somewhat by the lavishness of the game's locales and the excitement of racing to deactivate Metal Gear Rex with the PAL key. On repeat playthroughs though, this whole segment just feels like a massive slog, enough so that the 2004 GameCube remake, the Twin Snakes, even included liquid nitrogen and a steam pipe near the control room so players could just alter the key shape without backtracking. But with the original sequence being preserved in the recent Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, fans got to experience the pain of hoofing it back to the warehouse and the furnace all over again. As creative and boundary pushing as the game is in so many areas, this whole section kind of sucks once you've done it the first time. Number 4, Don Corneo's Mansion, Final Fantasy VII. Listen, inner child, I'm really sorry, I'm having to do this to you again. Don't do it, Jules, please! I beg of you, Final Fantasy VII is one of the last pure memories I have of gaming. Yeah, but... Now, the original Final Fantasy VII was such an epoch-making moment for the RPG genre that basically every single part of it is intensely cherished by huge swathes of players. And that certainly includes Don Corneo's Mansion, the unforgettable set piece where Cloud and company need to rescue Tifa from the mobster/sexual predator that is Don Corneo by having Cloud dress up as a woman in order to sneak into the mansion. Though undeniably one of the most memorable sections from the original game, it also came under intense scrutiny in more recent years for its perceived problematic undertones, namely making Cloud's cross-dressing a point of inherent comedy and even disgust. It certainly does not play well to the more enlightened general mindset of the 2020s, enough so that Final Fantasy VII Remake gave the entire Don Corneo sequence a wholly progressive makeover, depicting Cloud's cross-dressing in a more celebratory manner without even a scrap of mockery. Now, how fair is it to hold up an almost 30-year game up to contemporary morals? That's really up for debate. But regardless, revisiting this sequence from the OG game definitely makes for a somewhat uneasy experience today. Number 3, The Water Temple, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Okay, it's time for an instantly controversial choice now, and it is probably one of the single most iconic dungeons in the entire Legend of Zelda series. Ocarina of Time's Water Temple was far from universally lauded upon release, but it was nevertheless a staggeringly ambitious accomplishment for video game design back in 1997, and was defended by many for its towering level of challenge. But as the years passed, the Water Temple became an ever bigger bone of contention amongst Zelda fans, with many complaining in particular about the need to paused the game in order to swap to the iron boots while navigating it over and over again. It was basically just like Link's there like, oh, bloody hell, got to put my boots on, got to put my waders on. Have you seen that guy on Instagram who does the marsh, the bog walker guy? What's his name? I'm going to call him Boggy Haggis. I don't know what his real name actually is, but he talks like this, and we go around and we walk in marshes and bogs. We walk in marshes and bogs. Maybe my Instagram reel is different to yours. Now, years removed from Ocarina of Time's release, the clunkiness of equipping and de-equipping the marshy boots made an already difficult section of the game a genuine slog to get through, and something that players increasingly became less intolerant of over the years. Now, in the very least, 2011's Nintendo 3DS remake made numerous quality of life fixes to the Water Temple section, such as allowing players to instantly equip and de-equip the iron boots. But if played in its OG form today, the Water Temple is a migraine-inducing endurance trial incompatible with the patience of most modern gamers. Number 2, the high road. Crash Bandicoot. Now, way back when we reviewed the Insane trilogy for the first time here, I believe that the collective statement from the What Culture Gaming crew was something along the lines of, oh god, what was it? Oh yes, the high road.
The high road?
Oh,
the high
god.
road.
And I do believe that sums up this entire entry, but still, I shall go on, and on and on and on. You can't stop me. Because unquestionably one of the most infamous levels in the Crash Bandicoot franchise, the High Road, is a brain-breakingly difficult level, which, while being relatively short, requires players to navigate a treacherous series of rope bridges packed to the gills, with life-ending dangers. You need to leap across rickety planks of wood, avoid wild animals who float on the and also strategically use turtles to bounce forward, as you do. Meaning that the sheer grueling combination of all of these left many players to lose their carefully collected / hoarded lives that they stocked up there. But it's also fair to say that the High Road had its fair share of fans, because in the 1990s, when hard as balls gaming was simply just an accepted part of the experience, it represented the ultimate challenge for Crash fans. And so you had this weird moment in 2017 when the Insane trilogy came out, and fans who were maybe more accustomed to 2 and 3 and maybe even the latter games that got easier and easier as they went on, coming back to Crash 1, they were just kind of like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? And you're just like, that's an obstacle, mate. You're going to need to actually circumvent it. You're going to need to use some skill to get around it. Oh, I don't like this. Is there a microtransaction option? Can I buy my way around this? No. And it actually left a lot of people criticising Vicarious Visions for failing to tweak the difficulty, especially in this one area. I mean, it did definitely set a tone though, didn't it? Because the first DLC for it was the cut level that was meant to be the hardest thing of all. And then we followed that up with Crash 4, It's About Time. Oh boy. And number 1, Zen, Half-Life. And finally, Half-Life's Zen is certainly something of a Marmite level, but those who love it, well, they really bloody love it. After all, it represents a major settings shift from the rest of the game, transporting Gordon Freeman from the Black Mesa research facility to an abstract alien border world. Now, at the time of Half-Life's release, there was certainly an exciting unpredictability to Zen. Its literally otherworld visuals and hostile flora and fauna lent it a totally unique atmosphere. But if you've played the OG game since this point, Zen is a decidedly tougher beast to like. It's a meandering level that brings the game's overall pacing to a thudding halt once you know where you're going, and the low-gravity platforming, well, that is a major source of frustration. Even though 2020's fan remake Black Mesa gave Zen a much-needed visual and design makeover, its beefed-up length still kinda makes it a real chore to get through. And there we have it, my friends, 8 video game levels that have aged pretty terribly. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. And you can follow me over on my social medias over here, and you can follow my wonderful editor, whose birthday it still is. So remember, the birthday messages down in the comment section below. Sai, over on her social medias over here as well. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke today about levels that we have fond memories of that maybe don't hold up to the light of day to day, remember, my friend, there is always one light that is getting ever brighter, and that is you, my friend, because you are an absolute legend, and I hope that you're treating yourself with that sense of positivity that I know you deserve. You're a big ledge, and don't let anything else or anyone else tell you otherwise, all right? So get out there and smash your life goals, because I bloody believe in you. Shine on, you crazy diamond. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.